Hi folks, Ron here. Well, I just had a great ride with some folks just up from Denver. They're coming up to Western Canada here to go on a tour for about a week or 10 days. So they're all set up and ready to go. Now, because this is one of those ones that's in behind the subscription wall, I get to tell you a little bit more about what we talked about. And what came up was quite interesting. It was about my time down when I was in Florida, and I had to testify at a trial for money laundering. It was one of the biggest money laundering cases in U.S. history at the time that didn't involve drugs. So it was pretty cool. I was a consultant representing basically an outfit, a Lions Capital outfit down in the States. And the thing was that, these guys had a really good operation going. You know, they would get people to apply for financing that they said they had access to, and you had to pay a fee, of course. Well, these fees, of course, are always problematical. And but anyway, they all turned out legit. The banking turned out legit. The law firm backing these guys was a very prominent Georgia law firm with 3 judges. And what could go wrong? I mean, all of the commitment letters and everything were coming from the law firm. So, it sounded like it was perfectly legit. Anyway, it turned out it wasn't. The FBI had been investigating, and there was a trial that took place down in Florida. And I got called down to testify on behalf of the defense because I was representing the clients up here in Canada, and they wanted information from me. Well, as it turns out, these guys like to send me all of the material. So everybody on all sides CC'd me. I never initiated one document at all. And so, but I had all the documents. So I had the whole picture. It was, now it gets interesting. Anyway, so they brought me down to Florida and bought me a McDonald's breakfast, and we went to trial. Now the prosecution was just beside themselves because I was the expert witness coming in for the defense on international finance. And when the defense lawyer was quizzing me about my qualifications, we went through the whole banking career and the fact that I'd been on the Secret Service details with the presidents and prime ministers and everything else and all that good stuff. It was pretty tough to knock me down because they're going, ooh, this guy's good. So they were really anxious to get at me. Now the lady prosecutor in charge of the prosecution, she had a really interesting way of going about business. She would stand at the far end of the courtroom behind a great big microphone and mumble into it. She had a heavy southern accent as well that really complicated things. Now, poor old me, I can't hear a doggone thing. I don't know what she's saying. I have no idea. So I shouted down to her. I says, excuse me, I've got these hearing aids here, and I can't hear you. I can't make out what you're saying. You're mumbling into the microphone. Could you please come forward to me so I can see? And it helps if I lip read. And I'm sorry, but you've really got a really, really heavy southern accent, and I don't understand that at all. Can you just kind of clean it up a little for me? So the place, just, you could have heard a pin drop. Nobody challenged her. The judge was even afraid of her. But, bless her, she complied, and she came trundling on up, and she gave the questions. And they were hard questions, and they cross reference and everything else. But I explained on how the international system worked, and letters of intent and commitment and everything else, and how in the whole transaction, and I outlined how it all worked, that trust was important. And, like way bills and bills of lading, if you're going to do this, you've got to send the stuff, and it's got to be good. It's got to be according to the bills of lading and everything else. Anyway, long story short, they were really upset, the prosecution, because it sounded like, man, I just made the case for the defense. And the defense was real happy and everything. I got in the plane and went home because I was concerned I was going to get arrested. But they didn't. Anyway, off I went, and I found out later that it took about 2 days before the prosecution realized that I had given them everything to do the prosecution. It was perfect. They knew exactly where the intent was and where the frustration. So when the law firm issued the commitment letter saying they had $36 million on deposit, but it came with conditions, the conditions were impossible to meet. And that way they would get their fees and not have to give out the $36 million. And that was the problem. Was that intentional? Or was it, well, you know, life sucks, let's go on. So anyway, they convicted him, the judges got fired, they got 20 years, and, you know, everybody went down the tube. So anyway, that's the little story that I had for our American guests up here, and they seem to quite enjoy it. Let me know in the comments if you did too, because we got lots more, and these are the kinds of things that we try to give to our clients. Have a nice day. And oh, by the way, it's gorgeous here in Calgary today. I'm just going to do a quick turn. If you see behind me up there, those numbers up there, that is from the Signal Battalion. They used to have artillery up there, and it used to fire from there all the way down into a training area directly behind me down that way. So it's really cool. This has got a lot of history in it. This used to be an aerodrome as well, and they used to train tankers here and everything else. My old regiment used to be here. Anyway, have a nice day, folks. It's nice to breathe fresh air again. Ta-ta!